Algebra 1, Lesson 80, Operations with Scientific Notation. So, we're going to learn how to multiply and divide scientific notation numbers. Our problems will look like this. Oh, this is really crooked. There we go. It'll look like this. Now, the first step in these problems is to convert all these numbers into true scientific notation. And you can see none of them are yet. We need to move our decimal points behind our first number. And then we need to adjust our 10 in our exponent. So the first step in these problems is going to be to write all four numbers in true scientific notation. So let's start with 0.0007 to 10 to the power of negative 23. So we've got a small number. We have to make it bigger to get to number 7. So we move 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces to give us 7.0 or just 7. Now, since we move 4 spaces and we made a small number bigger, that's going to be a minus 4. So then we take negative 4 and we just add it to this exponent. So negative 4 plus negative 23 is going to give me 10 to the power of negative 27. So that's the first number. Now let's go to the second number, 4,000 times 10 to the power of 6. We have a big number getting small, so we move 1, 2, 3 spaces to get right behind the 4. And then we're going to be adding 3 to 6. So that will be 4 times 10 to the power of 9. 3 and 6, 9. So that's our numerator. Now let's go to the denominator. In the denominator, we have 0.0004. So we move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces to give us 4 times 10 to the power of negative 5, because we took a small number and made it bigger. Next one, 7 million. So our decimal point all the way over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces to get it right behind the 7. That becomes 7 times 10 to the power of 6. Positive because we took a big number and made it small. Now, this is the part that gets a little bit tricky for some people, is simplifying here. The best way to do it is to group your whole numbers and your tens into two separate pieces. So I'll take the whole numbers in green. I'm going to rewrite this as 7 times 4 over 4 times 7. Then I'm going to take the tens and separate them. We'll do that in purple. And then I've got 10 to the power of negative 27. 10 to the power of 9 over 10 negative 5 and 10 to the positive 6. Now what this does is it prepares me to write my final answer in one scientific notation number, and it also makes the operations a lot simpler. So I can go ahead and simplify the whole numbers. I know that 4 divided by 4 is just 1 and 1, and 7 divided by 7 is 1 and 1. So my first number is going to be 1. I'm going to have 1 times 10 to the power of something. Now let's figure out that exponent. Now to figure out that exponent, we're just going to use some algebraic rules that we already use, and we're going to apply them to our tens. So all we have to do is, since our tens are exponent numbers with the same base number, all I have to do is add the exponents. It's the same concept as if I had x to the power of negative 27 times x to the power of 9. Right? So if we have this problem, we would just add the exponents, and that would give me x to the power of negative 18. Right? We're doing the same thing here. The only difference is we know what our x number is. Our x number is 10. We have the same base number, so the same rules apply. So this numerator is going to be 10 to the power of negative 18. Likewise, the denominator, 10 to the power of negative 5, 10 to the power of 6, is just going to be 10 to the power of 1. From here, we would simplify by moving our 10 to the numerator. This becomes 10 to the power of negative 1, the same way that x would if it were an x number. So once we have 10 to the power of negative 1, we just combine these two, and that becomes 10 to the power of negative 19. And that number gets put on our exponent down here. And that is our final answer. Let me see here. Yeah, that's it for this lesson. Your first number will not always, your first number may not always be 1, but if you group it and you divide, like this, then that'll help you get your answer very, very easily. Let me see, do we run into that at all? No, we don't. Okay, yeah, that's it for this lesson. If you have any questions, let me know on Moodle, and I will see you in class.